Hey, what's up, guys? We're actually over here in Groves, Texas, which is about an hour and a half outside of Houston, just to the east of Houston, close to Beaumont. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk Sean's house and Sean's wife. And this is their first flip. So we're going to be documenting the process all the way from, where they closed the property. They just started on the demo work, kind of see what their ideas for everything are, and go from there. Hope you enjoy.
So my wife, she's not originally from here, but moved down here whenever I guess you were a teenager in high school. Yeah. Graduated from down here
freshman year.
So
cool.
Yeah, familiar with the area. So
nice. Yeah, I noticed a lot of the houses in this particular neighborhood sell pretty quickly.
Yeah, and I mean, and for the most part, all these houses, from what we noticed, that just kind of going around the neighborhood, they're all pretty much the same cookie cutter design, that 3x1, and this one they added like a 500 square foot addition on the back end to give it, an extra bedroom and an extra bath. So,
and that roof was like that already, huh?
Yeah, the roof's actually in really good shape. Guys that we had to come and do all of our landscaping work, they're going to come back in a couple weeks and just do touch up on the yard, and they'll get up there and pull all the pine needles off,
Pull it off, yep.
So
cool. Let's take a look.
Yeah.
You guys already started demo, right?
Oh, yeah.
You had a draw on it yet? Or?
No.
Okay.
We hadn't got to the draw yet. So what we did was when we were sitting talking, these were 8-foot ceilings, and we discussed it, and we decided, what's going to open this room up a lot more is tray ceilings. Okay. So we're bringing these ceilings up. I think he said 10'6" is what's going to be in here. We're going to open up this and put a tray in here to open up this dining area. And then it's the fastest way to we're bringing the tray up to there.
It's framed it all out and everything already.
Yep. And so the way that this room was laid out was you had a wall here for the bathroom entrance. Well, here was the shower, and you had a little closet right here.
Made it pretty small.
That came out to here. So this is all of the room you had in here was just this little section here, and it was a poor waste of space. It really was. So first thing we did was we knocked that wall completely out, and we're going to make this the entire master. I think it's 12 by 15. 12 by 15, yeah. And so we're going to end up doing, this is going to be the master bath. We're going to have walk-in shower right here, to have toilet here, and then a double vanity here.
Cool.
So, and then barn doors for all this. So you're going to slide a barn door from here. And then that section is going to be the closet. And contractor, he's like, I know it's small, except that, there's some things that they can do. They're going to lift the ceiling. I think that's going to be vaulted up. Okay. So it's just going to give the appearance that it's a little bit taller and a little bit bigger. And he said with the shelving, it's going to be like a nice L-shaped shelving. Yeah. And he said there's going to be a lot of room in there to be able to.
It's going to be all three sides. That window's pulling out.
Yeah, I think they're going to pull this window out and block it in, so it'll be all three. So,
forget what the total square footage is.
1720.
Okay, it's bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
These cabinets look sharp in bad shape. You're going to keep them there?
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to end up like just sanding them down, and we're painting them. Yeah. Replace the
hardware in them.
Replace all the pools, replace all the countertops, new sink, taking out that backsplash, put like a white tub, white subway tile. Getting this guy out of here because it's not really serving any kind of purpose. Yeah. So cool. Because this was like a lot of the samples that we had. This is what our master wall master
Both
bath.
bathrooms. This is what's going to go in the shower.
Okay.
And then this is the flooring for the shower in the primary. And then all of the niches are going to have this in it. So both master and the guest.
Yeah.
And then this is our
Subway tile.
subway tile for the backsplash. And then we're
So like a
doing
farmhouse
tile
sink in here or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the sink and everything. So we got to do a lot of wiring.
You're just gonna put LVP in here, or
Yes.
Yes.
What we're gonna do is we're keeping this color,
Uh-huh.
and we're gonna keep this room. It's this room, baby, huh? No. We're saving those
the
rooms.
bedroom.
The bedrooms. We're saving all the bedrooms because those are all in the right direction.
Okay.
We're gonna rip all this tile up, and then we're gonna LVP from there and work our way all the way through this. No
Yeah.
transitions.
All those in there, they're all going different
Directions.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was totally done like kind of after the fact, right? Let's get out there and squeeze through here. Curious to see what they got for this.
They all went for lunch, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So yesterday,
Want to move this for us?
No, I just stay out here. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah.
yesterday they ripped all this because this was all this pink
Yep.
pink
The
stuff.
original
We got all that stuff out. This was a whole metal tub.
cast iron.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah, those cast iron. They're not. Some of them aren't bad to keep.
No.
You know, you can sometimes you can just reglaze them.
Yeah, yeah. So they got all this stuff gutted out, and they got looks like we got our plumbing roughed in and
Yeah.
everything for it, and everything. We're gonna, basically that tile is going to be all around the deal. It's going to be just standard 60-inch.
You just match this around to the other one, or
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. And I think that we'll put a niche in here as well, if I'm not mistaken.
along the whole.
Yeah, along this side too.
Yeah,
So
it's getting
this
kind of
one-
common now where they used to just do the small one, but now they're doing
Yeah, because we got the small one in
extending.
our house, at our house. And
not enough space.
we got 3 things in there, and we still got to have like one of those telescoped like shelf deals that that you got in the corner that you got tons of shelves on, and that thing's full
Yeah.
up all the time. So,
Cool. That's nice. That's a good size bath.
yeah. The bedrooms for the most part.
You got 3 back here.
Yeah, there's 3 bedrooms here, and I mean they're not in bad shape. I mean,
Yeah, flooring's not bad at all.
we got some pieces that I think they're going to try to salvage some of the stuff in the living room
Yeah.
and try to replace some of the messed up pieces or whatever. But patching the little spots, we had to do. They're going to remove this and get this out because we had to change all the ductwork.
Okay, so the whole AC is just replaced.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's wild. I wouldn't have ever thought about this, but they took the actual.
It makes me nervous being right there.
You get a nail gun in the face and felt so good. Yeah. That movie ruined it for everybody, didn't it?
Oh, I can't drive behind logs.
I know, yeah.
Oh no. But our entire unit was sitting right here.
The furnace or the condenser?
Furnace, the whole unit was right here.
Oh, okay.
And so we were like, okay, well, we want to do this, tray ceilings, and we're gonna have to rerun all the ductwork anyway. So they basically cut everything off of it, and they pulled everything over to there. And now all of our unit and everything is sitting over on that side.
Yeah.
Which makes it better because that's where the actual, the outside unit is over there.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to get pan drains and everything ran out to the outside and have it sitting right there by the unit.
Yeah.
So,
Right outside.
yeah. So if somebody's working on the unit or whatever, they got visual of a pan issue or whatever they got.
Yeah. Sweet.
So, yeah, I mean, it's gonna be nice whenever we get it all said and done with. I think we gotta make our first payment to the contractor today
Okay.
for their week's worth of work, because
Did you have to front him money to start with?
yeah
Yeah.
we fronted
it was
30%.
30%.
Yeah, we had a little bit of capital, to be able to do it, and it helped maneuvering some of the stuff around and getting a lower closing cost.
Yep.
It's we ended up, I think, on the paperwork.
It wasn't
we
so
said-
bad. I'm glad
we said
we-
it was 15, and we went to the title place, and they said it's only 12.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, we got to check.
But did you have earnest money in?
Yes.
So it
We only
was
had
12,
1,100.
12 plus your 11.
Yeah. And so,
But the original we were thinking is going to be much higher because the rehab went up.
Yeah. So, and but yeah, we got it moved around and everything. And I mean, you know, with the way that this house is going to turn out, I think it's definitely going to be. It's definitely going to set the market. It's going to be the common.
Yeah, I know it appraised. That helped your cash to close too. It appraising $10K higher than you thought it would appraise.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, I think that, you know, with us, you know, adding the height in these rooms, and then actually allocating a better footprint and flow of that room, it's gonna jump out at us.
Yeah.
So
now you just gotta see if you can keep on budget.
yeah. Well, and I mean, you know, our contractor's been pretty solid so far. You know, I mean, you know, a lot of the stuff, like a bunch of this wiring is this old, no grounded Romex, right? And he's like, look, we're just going to rewire everything. I think in the bedrooms, it should be okay from what we got, but everything in here, in the kitchen, and in the master or whatever, and in the bathroom, he's like, we got to get all that stuff.
Is your panel in the backyard?
No, the panel's
Is it an old kind of stab lock?
Oh, man, it's probably. It's these.
Oh yeah.
And then, like.
Sure.
You
just kind of tied off a bunch of
they just
stuff.
wired the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, what are y'all doing? Yeah, he said he had his electrician come through yesterday and we get a good walk through the house and everything.
Yeah.
Get a good idea about where we are. Because I mean, they got.
What did you have originally in the budget for electrical? Was it just to replace a lot of that wire? Reground, kind of like piggy tail.
I was replacing the panel back there, and just that stuff. Let's see. Electrical panel and disconnect was $4,500. Okay, quoted. Yeah, which is in my mind is pretty good because we went and looked at another house that's just right around the corner from here, and it was the house was already gutted, but somebody had stole all the home runs and everything out of the house and everything, and you know we had a contractor give us a bid on the house, and he wanted like $145,000 for the renovation. I was like, dude, what?
Yeah.
I was like, I think it was one of those deals where it's like, you know, it was like I'm gonna just overcharge them and.
Oh, they had a little deck right here, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we were kind of up in the air about whether or not,
keeping it or not
to pull it or keep it. And I mean, it's not really that bad, you know. Yeah. And I mean, we're almost kind of out of dumpster space.
Pressure.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, some of these clean up pretty well.
Yeah, and I mean,
we did on the back of our house. We came in and just cleaned it and pressure washed it and put weather-free paint on there.
Yeah, because I don't know if you got a good picture of what this backyard looks like before.
Probably on that original inspection. Pulling up. Yeah, it's a good size backyard.
It is. But like you saw this.
Oh, is this your water's in the back? Huh?
Yeah, the power company hasn't ran through this easement in forever.
Okay.
Because look, you see, that's all those vines and everything. Those were all growing over the fence, and that's.
So did they put the fence line like before the lot line?
I mean, I think it's probably
because you see how you got your fence and you got this space here. I know that's the easement, but
yeah. I mean, I don't see like the survey flags. I mean, they probably couldn't get back here. Is what it was. They probably couldn't even get back here.
You just got to re-prop these up, or you're just going to replace it?
What?
The fence?
Yeah.
Just going to try to put Band-Aid on it?
I guess. I mean, for us to redo the whole fence line, I mean, I got to get a hold of the city and get them to come figure out what they're going to do with it.
It is a good size, though, back there.
Yeah. It's not bad. I mean, especially as once you get it cleaned up and you get it mowed and you start getting a little bit of grass going back here, the kids are going to be able to play back here and everything.
Yeah. So. Siding looks pretty good.
Yeah. I think
that's the addition. That's the
okay.
primary.
Yeah.
Right.
We're going to keep that, but then I'll answer other siding. We're going to just replace all of it and then we'll
put that already quite.
Yeah. Like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll paint, for painting all the, with the house that's snowbound. The white.
Oh yeah.
It'll be like a kind of off white, and then everything that's blue will be iron ore.
I love iron ore. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's
It'll
a
make
good color.
everything
Real
pop.
popular now.
Yeah, especially with the iron pillars in the front.
Yeah.
And then the front door that we got is like a more modern kind of like black.
Okay,
Front door.
cool. Yeah.
We have to complete all the windows, single pane windows and everything. And I think we had talked about actually taking that window out because that's going to be right there in the closet.
Yep.
I don't know if we are for sure or not, but
We are.
we are.
And
Okay.
we're taking that window out too, and we're gonna fill that in, and it's gonna be double, like bay windows.
Okay.
out there.
Okay. So delete this one and extend that one.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah. It seems like it changes every day.
Yeah.
He calls us up and he's like, "Hey, y'all gonna come by the house?" I said, "Yeah, we can come by there." He said, "Yeah, I want to bounce some ideas off of you." And he's like, "What do you think about doing this?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
Changed the whole layout for the bathroom in the closet yesterday.
"Yeah, just yesterday." It's like we had an idea.
Well, it's good you like to get involved. My wife, I like to get involved.
Well, this is all her stuff. Like
Oh, cool.
The interior stuff. And the
Yeah.
design.
She'll do some design work, but definitely nothing structural layout wise.
Yeah. I mean, I'm the one that's focusing on
He's the money guy.
projects, figuring out finances, buying stuff, whatever. All the major decisions inside. I'm like,
Yeah.
call the wife.
This is the first one you guys have done too,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. You learn 90% of everything on the first one.
Right. and that's and like one quick lesson that we learned was all this like woods and stuff. I should have just rented a wood chipper and then had them guys come and do it and just had them chip all the wood into there. I wasn't thinking, and then we fill up a 40-yard 40-yard dumpster.
I mean, it filled up too quickly. Yeah, they're not cheap now.
Man.
$700, $800, $900.
Yeah, he said it was about $800 to get another one. So it's either that or I drive to Home Depot tomorrow and go rent a wood chipper and I start hauling some of that wood out of the dumpster and I start chipping it myself,
Just every week, put a little bit more in the trash cans.
Yeah, and like I talked to my dad, because out here is a the city does like a trash pickup. So if you got limbs and stuff, you can go leave it out by the road. And they'll come and pick it up. And I told him, I said, dude, that was so much wood. I said, that would have been the whole front yard. You wouldn't have been able to even get into the property from all the wood that was out there.
Yeah.
So, yes. Should be a nice little setup, man.
Yeah, looks good.
First one's the growing pains, lessons learned. We were kind of sitting on the hardware a little bit, just ordering all of our hardware because we weren't needing a lot of the stuff so quickly. And
yeah,
contractor calls us like, I need the shower set and faucet sets for the guest bathroom tomorrow, and we're like, man, so.
We would always order a lot of stuff off Amazon.
And that's what we did.
We have a business Amazon account that I went and found a bunch of stuff on, and I was like, this is the exact same thing that they have at Lowe's and Home Depot and everywhere else, and it's cheaper. I'm like, okay.
And I mean, they got a lot. I say nicer, like better looking stuff than Lowe's and Home Depot, because you go look at their like in stock stuff, and it's kind of it's kind of janky. So, we wanted a little bit more of a modern look to it, a little bit cleaner look to it, because this is, we're going to try to get some good money for it. So we want to make sure that we putting good stuff in there,
Yeah. What is his time frame he thinks he can do it in?
He said 6 to 8 weeks, but I mean, I think that he'll probably get to 80% within the first 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and then it'll probably take a few weeks to do all the real small nitpicky stuff, He said if it comes up to Thanksgiving, then he gives his guys off the whole week of Thanksgiving or whatever. And I don't foresee us still working on this stuff by Thanksgiving, but you never know.
Yeah. So far, so good with the city.
Yeah. No issues. I mean, he's on top of it. He's already registered with the city.
Okay.
Went ahead and pulled all the permits and everything.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So we did all that. He did all that stuff whenever
The day we closed.
Yeah, the day we closed, he was like, "Yep, I got the permits ready to go."
Oh, that's good.
We got to call the electrical company
Wednesday.
Yeah, I need to schedule a disconnect from the electrical company for Wednesday or Thursday of next week.
So what, he just got a general repair permit? Or okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't have to do structural?
No, I mean, because we're not really doing much structural work. The only thing that's going to come into play is that we're going to have to trench out some of that slab to reroute some of that plumbing because we're in the toilet and all that stuff is, but our clean out's over on that corner. So he's already got it laid out and recognized about where he needs to go with it. So.
Awesome. Well, so far so good.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
cash to close was a little bit lower than you wanted, and seems he's rolling on schedule.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's a good contractor. I mean, we a buddy of mine that's kind of the one that put the bug in the ear or whatever. He's used him on several of his projects or whatever. And he was like, yeah, I mean, if he's free, he'll come and check it out. And I called him up and he said, yeah, it's between you and one other person. Whoever closes first is going to be able to get it. And I was like, well, I'm going to make this a goal.
Yeah. He's from Houston?
Yeah, he's from Houston. Yeah.
So you're really close enough to be able to utilize contractors there.
Right.
Yeah, we have some of our guys working in Huntsville right now and some in Beaumont. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a couple of construction companies that are down in this area or whatever, but if from what we've talked to them and stuff, they're a little bit more pricier.
Sure.
Because I mean, I guess it's just a smaller market, and there's not quite the demand for it down here.
Not only that, but a lot of the contractors and stuff that are out in our area, they also are real estate investors themselves and are working on their own personal projects on top of stuff for clients. So
it's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like they'll highball you, and it's if you don't know what you're doing and haven't done the research, and you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, I guess if that's what it costs,
sure.
Then
Yeah, you got a couple bids, didn't you?
Yeah. And I mean, the guys that you sent over, they were $1,000.
Yeah.
$1,000 off from what these guys were. So
from Bang It, yeah.
It was right there.
Cool.
With everything in mind too, with the bathroom reno and everything like that, it was very comparable. So we felt pretty comfortable that those numbers were where we needed to be.
Yeah. If it comes in too low, you're worried. If it comes in too high, you're
exactly.
worried. So.
Yeah, you're kind of going, so.
Cool. Yeah, get this one done and then on to the next one.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been floating around the idea of looking into like pre-foreclosures and stuff like that.
Yeah, where did you find this one? It was on the MLS?
It was on Redfin.
Okay.
We sat on Redfin for the first, I guess, probably month, just saving homes, and we probably walked.
I know you walked a bunch of them.
Yeah, we
made some offers.
Probably walked about 4 or 5, and we're looking at stuff and everything, and nothing was really settling out. And this one, we were coming to look at it, and they told us, oh well, the roof in one of the bedrooms is falling through because of a leaking water line. And we were like,
perfect.
Yes, we want to look at this, because they were worried because they didn't know that what
you're trying to do with
investors or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think they wanted 140,
145
for the house, and
we
came and walked it.
105, and they countered with 110.
I remember, yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty
So I
fair.
was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I said,
I think I ran it and said right around 100, 105 would be ideal.
Yeah. And I mean, I gave them 105, and whenever they said 110, I was like, I think I'm comfortable with making the move.
And that was with the original rehab was around 60 when it first came in. And then it settled closer to 80, but then the value jumped up by 10. So that
helps us move around a little bit and everything, and get a little bit better, the cash to close, which, for us being our first one, we didn't have a whole lot of money that wasn't like our money.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying?
And you don't want to, even if you've done a bunch of them, you don't want to leave a ton of capital in one particular house because it doesn't allow you to go out and
move around,
do more of them. Yeah. Flippers are always broke when they do a lot of houses. Yeah. They got 20, 30K in each one.
Yeah, exactly.
You got 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah,
so
it's a little rough.
Starts to hurt.
Yeah. You start going, so I guess, we're eating ramen tonight, or.
Yeah.
Ice.
We're eating ice. We're eating ice soups,
Yeah. Because you found us off of Jackson's channel, right?
Yeah.
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 Hey, Sean. How you doing?
Hey, Joe.
Hey, just going to go over this term sheet with you for a sec if you got a minute.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I noticed here that your the rehab went up quite a lot, right?
Well, I mean, it's 70 to 70 something now instead of 60.
It's what, sorry?
It's like 70 something instead of the 60,000 that we had thought previously.
Okay. Yeah, here on the term sheet I got, it says 83,000. Is that wrong?
Yeah. The budget that I got from the contractor, let me see, I got it pulled up in my phone, was 76,113.
76. Okay. Let me pull that up in a minute too and take a look. And one thing I did notice on this one is I was running comps on it Friday, and the day of the market seemed pretty good. If the rehab is dialed in, it should sell pretty quickly, and you might be able to get more than that 235. But I'm just looking at ways to see if we can get that out of pocket lower for you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, if it comes back, the appraisal comes back a little bit higher than the 235, then we can just increase it, and that would kind of lower that. But the only thing I'm thinking right now is, outside of getting a reduction on the purchase price, is trying to get that rehab down a little bit, even on paper, right? Because I think the initial rehab was 60.
Yeah, that's what we just estimated, right? It was just, 60 was my ballpark range of like, I think we should be able to do it for this.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm pretty good with that, that 235. I think, it should at least appraise for that. Hopefully we can kind of come in a little bit higher, but at 235, that allows the, at 70%, that allows 164,500 for the loan. So if we take out the how much you buy, 110 is what you're buying it for. That leaves about 55 in rehab, and then everything above that 55 is out of pocket.
Yeah. And so that's what I was wondering. I mean, is that something that we can maybe do, that basically I pay, because the main killer in the rehab budget was to do all the work in the master bathroom, which if I want to sell this house for more than $235,000, right, it's going to have to happen. Is there a way that I can basically just kind of mitigate that remodel and pay for that out of pocket without pulling like draws and everything like that for it, basically? Because that's $12,000 for just the bathroom remodel. So if you take that off, that turns that into a $64,000 rehab.
Yeah, you could, but at the end of the day, it's still out of pocket, right? Whether you're doing it out of, when you purchase the house or when you're doing the repair, either way, it ends up out of pocket, right?
Yeah, it's just not out of pocket, just all at one lump sum right at the very beginning, right?
Exactly.
That's the only thing I'm thinking of. Is that I'm okay with paying it out of pocket.
Yep.
I just, because I'm going to pay, because I got to pay the contractor up front and then pay the closing costs on the house up front, and at, 50,000, it's harder for me to take a bite out of 50,000 rather than pay 12,000 over a 6-week period, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, we're essentially just looking at it, what our cost would be for whatever reason we had to come in and do the rehab. And if we're not going to do an amazing, bathroom, and we're just going to kind of put it to what the comps are. And what I realized was that the comps on it, they're decent rehabs, but they're not insane rehabs.
Right.
And they all sell pretty quickly, which is surprising. I guess not a lot of inventory in Groves right now, but everything was, 10 or 15 days on market and under. So that's why I'm pretty sure you might be able to get more than that 235 if that rehab is dialed in. And again, once that appraisal happens, because right now it's showing you're out of pocket pretty high. If we can get that appraiser to see a higher value than that 235 and it bumps it up, then we'll increase that loan amount and that'll reduce the out of pocket. So those are really out of pocket. Yeah, exactly. So those are really the two ways, is to readdress that rehab, and if you don't need 83,000 right now or whatever it is, 70-something thousand, just scale that back for now, and then you can add it, out of your pocket if that's what you prefer, or just kind of wait to see what the appraisal comes back at, and we can adjust the loan numbers if it comes back in higher.
Yeah, because whenever we were looking at, we based the ARV on like $135 a square foot, and then if you look at the comps in the area are 150 to 160, and so we were worried because of the master bathroom and because of the master suite that just the layout was just going to kind of be funky or whatever. And then whenever our contractor came in and we discussed like our plans or whatever, we were like, okay, now where we considered our, kind of our linchpin or our kind of crutch in selling this house is now going to be the focal point and like the selling point of the house. I'm like, we can actually shoot more towards those 150s for the ARV, and that would push us into the 260 to 270 range, which, we just initially from the jump, we were like, let's worst case scenario this thing just based on what we're seeing initially. And then, like I said, after talking to the contractor, it was like, okay, yeah, I can see how this becomes like a better deal for somebody. So
yeah, and you never really know where that appraiser is going to come in. I would say that they don't do it kind of subjective to what it could hit. They're going to use the best comps available. Now, if you go a little bit further out from kind of what we were using, there's every possibility that it gets higher than that 235. But I think if we can work on something where we scale that rehab back a little bit somehow. Okay. Whether it's the master bath, and then we also look at that appraisal because I don't, 37 is too high. I'd like to get you closer to 15, 20 if we can. Right. Because I don't like to take anybody's liquidity when you don't have to. I like it when people bring in 10 or 15 or sometimes less. So.
Yeah, and based on 110 and a $60,000 rehab, it put me at 11, 12 out of pocket closing. So I need to possibly ask do I need to get the contractor to maybe like omit the master bathroom work on this invoice and like get a different invoice and then put that up on there, or how do I, how do you want me to do that? Yeah,
so if you're going to spend a lot of money into that master bathroom, we just want to see the cost that it's going to take to make it comparable to those, to the comp selling at 235. So if you're putting more money into the bathroom to try to shoot for a higher price and to set a record comp, you can always go ahead and do that, right? We're never going to stop anyone from doing additional work on the property. But we just need to see a reasonable cost to get it to where that 235 is achievable. So I'll dig into your rehab as well and kind of look and see if I see anything that jumps out. But the needle swings pretty quickly, right? So if that 37, if we can reduce that down, the rehab down realistically, 10 or $15,000 well, then that all comes off because everything in this 37 is above that 70%. So if we're getting 10 to 15,000 off that 37, then it swings down pretty quickly, right? So if we can find a way to get 15,000 off, it brings it down to closer to 20, and that can be through that appraisal, or it can be we readdress that rehab, and then you can just go back and add stuff, down the line.
Okay. Yeah, because I guess it wouldn't be, I don't think it would be really a big deal for him to basically move that master bath remodel off of this invoice and just maybe make me a second invoice that's just for me and him, basically to agree upon. And so that, if, looking at, the I guess the description of what work is going to be done, I think he lays it out pretty well of like all of the changes that are going to go into it. So I'm assuming that your rehab inspection person will be able to look at this and say, okay, I see what they're trying to do. Like, yes, it's going to cost this much money to be able to do this. And in turn, help the appraiser say like, okay, I see this house can actually, shoot for a little bit higher than ARV. That way we kept it all in the same place. But if not, If they do come back with 235 or whatever, and I need to manipulate this repair budget, I can discuss that with the contractor.
Exactly. So let's do it like that.
Hey, I got a little bit of good news.
Okay.
It appraised at 245.
Okay.
So that takes about 10. If we bump that 70% up for the 245K, that shaves off about 10K from that that last cost cash to close.
So just quickly want to go over the appraisal. Obviously, it appraised a little bit high, which helped us cash to close. So just going to show you how to take a look at the appraisal and also why that made such a difference. So this was the appraisal we got. Here it is, 2711 Oleander. And what we're looking for on these is something called a subject to appraisal. Now, the best way to describe that is subject to the work being done. What's the value of it going to be? You can also call it a ARV appraisal. So after repair value, what it's going to be worth once the repairs have been done. We're also going to get an as-is number to say what the value is in its current condition, but what we really care about is what it's going to be worth once it's rehabbed. So that's the kind of appraisal your lender is going to be using, because they're not going to just say what it is in its current condition, because then you wouldn't be able to structure the loan properly. So the appraisal is really just taking the comps. It's exactly what we're doing when we're running comps on a property, or what you're going to be doing. It's just by a licensed appraiser who's obviously been educated and licensed with the state board. So it just gives you a little bit of extra confidence. It also allows us to know the final number to base the loan off of. Really, it's so that there's not too much back and forth. If you have one idea of what the value is and your lender has another idea of what the value is, there might be some kind of clash there on who's correct. So by using the third-party appraisal, although you have to pay for it, it does help finalize that number and kind of give confidence of what's that total amount being loaned on. So as you can see here, the total ARV appraisal came back in at $245,000. Okay, so that is the number that we're basing the final loan off of at $245,000. And then once you get a little bit deeper into the appraisal, you're going to be able to see the comps that the appraiser used, and it's a good habit to go back and actually look at what you ran yours on, and make sure that you're getting this done correctly. He's also going to add photos of the subject property here, so you can see the before photos. Here he's also put it in the flood map, and these are the comparable pictures that he used. So go back and check yours. So this appraiser actually went pretty far out, which is good for the borrower. Obviously, when we did comps, we run much closer. We try to stick with under half a mile, even 0.25 miles if you can, half a mile to get your value. Now this market, I would say, is a little bit smaller, so there's not going to be a huge variation of school districts and those things that within a big city like Houston, it might jump over from street to street or subdivision to subdivision. So pretty close. We came up with a very similar ARV when we ran it, but the appraiser came in at 245, and we'll break down why that made a difference. It made a difference because the rehab jumped up. So let's do a quick calculation on the what he initially submitted and what we thought, and then what it came back in as. Take a look quickly and see how close we were with our calculator to what the numbers actually ended up at, and really just to kind of go over the HUD and explain it. So as you can see here on a HUD or a closing disclosure, this is the one that's most commonly used. You have your borrower's fees or the buyer's fees on the left-hand column here, and then you're going to have the seller fees on this right-hand column right here. Let's take a look here. Okay, So as you come down, the most important line you're going to see is line 303 right here. That's cash from borrower. Now that's 12,000 that Sean had to bring to closing. If you hear that phone call, you'll see that originally it looked like it was going to be a lot more, but that appraisal coming in at 245 and getting a 10K extra value, we could, use that extra 10K to bump that leverage up and reduce the cash to close. So if you see here, the total budget lender holdback is 68,714. That's how much is going to be held in escrow for him to do the work. So the total amount was the total loan amount was 171,500. Now, when you go down this column here, you can kind of take a look at all the costs: the lender cost, the title cost, insurance cost. You'll see here, for example, insurance on line 903, that was 1868. You've got title insurance, you've got the escrow fee from title, you've got, little minor recording fees, kind of miscellaneous fees. This survey, that actually looks pretty high, so not sure if it was just because of the area. But the total cash out of pocket with all the expenses lined up and any overages is 12,000. If you look here, they already had 1,100 in earnest money. So really their out of pocket was closer to 13,100. So let's use our calculator. Purchase price, remember, was 110. Let's have a look here. Purchase price was 110. The rehab budget ended up finalizing at 68,714. And the ARV, was 245,000, loaned at 70%. So that's right. So our estimate on the calculator was 14,000. You have 12,000 here, and then you have 1,100 here. So it's actually closer to 13,100. But this, obviously covers that appraisal fee, covers any, taxes imbalance. So it's right there. He brought right around total in so far, 13,100 plus the appraisal. So right around 13,500-600. So pretty accurate. It's always best to have this a little bit conservative. But yeah, happy with that, and I know he was happy too.
All right, we're going to do a quick analysis on what the ideal purchase price for Schon would have been now the numbers have been finalized. So the ARV was 245,000. This is what the appraisal came in at. The lender is going to leverage, generally speaking, up to 70%. So we're going to times that ARV times 7, right? Which is, I'll help from a calculator, 171,500. And then we're going to reduce the rehabs. So the rehab came in at 67,000, leaving an ideal purchase price of 104,500. By ideal, it just, once you plug it into that calculator, if you're at 70%, your out-of-pocket is going to be so incredibly low, you're only bringing the closing cost to table. Now, Schon did have to pay 110,000, but he was very close to that 104,500. So anything above this 104,500 and this 110 is just going to be on top of the closing cost. So that's why you see it closer to 12, 13K rather than, 6 or 7. But again, I think it's a pretty solid deal. The value really helped it. Also being able to go back and forth and getting that rehab down to 67,000 instead of 80. Because obviously, if it was 80,000, well, that addition would also be on top of the closing cost. And that's why we were seeing it originally coming closer into the 30s, right? So the reason you want to have it at 70, obviously, is because the lender is going to be leveraged that high. Now, if you're in a market where, it's very tough to get deals, days on market is low, there's certain variables that make it a good deal, it's very hard to scale by finding 70% deals. So going up to 75 might be acceptable. I think on this deal, it definitely would have, because as we saw in the comps, the days on market are really low, and he's very close to getting it at 70%. So overall, I'm pretty happy with the numbers on Schon's deal. I think he bought it deep enough to really have some contingency on there. And excited to see how much money he's going to make once everything is said and done. So this is the quick calculation. I would take a pen and paper here and just use this to practice. And also you can use the cash to close calculator to kind of support your numbers. So your actual calculation is your ARV times 0.7 minus rehab. This is your formula you're running on every offer. Now, if you know your market is a little bit tighter, a little bit harder, you can always just change this formula here, right? Put this at 0.75 if you feel that you only can get 75% deals, or you feel that you're okay with paying a little bit more. So this is your formula you can use on absolutely every single deal. I think Sean's deal was really a great one to evaluate, because as you see, the cash to close jumped up considerably when his rehab went up from 60 to 80, and then getting it back down, and also that appraisal coming in higher than what was originally anticipated really helped him to lower it down to that $12,000-$13,000 that made it a little bit more manageable. So when you're really evaluating a deal, you can kind of see how those two numbers are so important: getting the value correct and also getting the rehab number correct. So you never want to rely on a wholesaler's number when you're doing your due diligence, because those two numbers, your rehab and your ARV, can be fluffed up even by $5,000 or $10,000 on each one. It really can make a big difference to how much money you have to bring out of close. So if you go off, let's say their $230K appraisal and it appraises at 220, and you go off their $40K appraisal and your lender's budget comes back at 50, well, that out of pocket is just added $20,000 to closing, which is not something that you want to be doing, especially as a newer flipper. So really hope you enjoyed watching Sean and kind of getting to understand his deal. And we're going to be documenting his property all the way from this video all the way until it gets sold, and kind of break down the numbers again of what he made and what it cost to hold it, how long it took, days on market, everything that I know you guys want to know. And I know it's really important to know as a newer flipper. Really appreciate you guys following and watching this new channel. Would love it if you could, like it, subscribe it, and click the bell so that you get updates on all of these investors and their journey.